What's going on, everybody? Grim Repair here. Today we're working on a Ford Transit and it vibrates sitting, you know, not moving, but you put it in gear, you can really feel it. I have a suspicion that it's the motor mount. There's a motor mount down there, right down there, and there's another one over here on this other side. I'm gonna pull this out, get it out of the way. Screw there. There's a screw here. Then you have these two little tabs on these evap lines that go into this intake. Pull this tab back here and it pops out. And then this one, squeeze these two tabs in and it pops out. That, and now we can really see it. It's right there. That nut on top is an 18 millimeter. Tools and supplies you're going to need are a 13 millimeter, an assortment of extensions, an 18 millimeter, a 10 millimeter, a ratcheting flex head 10 millimeter wrench, jack stands, and motor mounts. There'll be links down below in the description to all the tools and parts used in the video. Let's get to it. We're gonna have a lot of fun. You wanna replace these in pairs, and you're gonna have to loosen them both in order to raise the engine up to get the weight off of these mounts. And they're both the same process of removal. Just showing you this one because it's a lot more open and I can film it better. First thing we're gonna do is remove this 18 millimeter nut from up top. Then I got a magnetic grabber here. I'm just going to reach that, but I could go underneath and grab it as well. Next, we're going to come into the wheel wells and remove these two 13 millimeter bolts. They're holding a bracket that sits on top of the motor mounts. And they're out. And we're going to do the same thing on the left-hand side. We've got the vehicle on some jack stands to give us a little more room. And we're just sliding under here. And there are two 10 millimeters that you got to get to from the bottom. And then you're going to come around and reach up top. There's one on this side. That's where you're going to use that ratcheting flex head. And then there's one over here on the other side. Put a 10 millimeter on our extension and get these bottom two here. That one's out. We're gonna get the other one. This extension's too long. I got this bar here in the way, so I'm gonna get a shorter one. All right, now we're gonna take our ratcheting flex head and go up here and get these top ones that come in from the top. Get the other one toward the front of the van, right up there in the same area. And then you're gonna go do the same thing on the driver's side mount or the left-hand side mount. I've already loosened this one. Next, I'm gonna get a block of wood and a jack and put it here under the oil pan and lift it up. All right, this is the bracket that those bolts and the wheel wells held on to. And now our motor mount is free. We just have to have enough room to lift it out. So we're gonna jack up the oil pan. Next, we're gonna remove these two 13mm bolts here, holding this cradle on. That's holding up the engine. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses. Whole lot of crap in there. And it's pretty loud. You might want to wear some hearing protection. All right, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Might have to lift the engine a little. And now we can just reach up and grab those motor mounts. And that one's out. Both driver and passenger side are the same. And it goes in with the closer bolts here toward the center, so toward the engine. Put it down into the cradle, and then it'll slide over under the engine after that. Pop the other one in. Here it is from the top right hand side. That way you can kind of get it from all sides. There it is, right there. Kind of hard to do and hold the camera and balance this ladder here. There it is. Slide the new one down in there. Just like that. Then we're going to get the 10mm that hold the mount to the cradle started, not tightened all the way. We're going to get everything lined up, and then we'll tighten everything down all the way. All right, now we're back under here. We're gonna put the 10mm in. Just get them started by hand. We can't get those ones started until that bracket's back up there, so we're gonna do the top ones coming down, and then we'll get this cradle put back up, and then we'll put that bracket back on top. All right, that one's in. Reach up and do the other one. On the inside, coming from the top down. And we're gonna get them started on the left-hand mount. Go. All right, now they're just got them started. Now we're gonna slide the mount into this bracket that's attached to the engine with that 18mm stud is. That side's lined up, and do the other side. All right, that side's lined up. And we're gonna slide these cradle to frame 13mm in, get them started while we hold that up there in the air on the engine side. Again, don't tighten them all the way. You want to get everything started so you know it's going to line up before you tighten anything down. And Ford may suggest you use new bolts for all this. I don't really know. I don't have a service manual. Call and ask them, get a service manual. If that's what it recommends, then get new bolts. All right, we got those over there started. We're gonna come over here and do the same thing. I think getting new bolts for these ones that are filled with water and rusted out would not be a bad idea. All right, so I was able to get the front bolts into this cradle here. The jack is kind of in the way. It's not letting this go back very far. So if you can kind of move it back and jack it up a little bit off of this cradle, you'd probably be better off. But I got the bracket that sits on top of the mount in on this side, or it's not in, but the 10mm from the bottom are in, holding it. They're not all the way tightened, but they're in. Now we got to put that bracket in on this side. And it's right here. Just gonna set it down there and go in. Set it down there and go in from the bottom and tighten up the two 10mm that go through the mount. Bolt holes in there. All right, both of those 10mm are in there. They're not all the way tightened. Now we can lower the engine, and you want to try to get those studs sticking out of the mounts lined up with those motor mount brackets. I'm gonna get that hole in this bracket here lined up with the studs sticking out of the mount. So while you're lowering it, you kind of want to maybe push on the motor a little bit. you might need some assistance, somebody to lower the jack while you maneuver the motor around a little, but we'll see what happens. All right, we got a pry bar here. And we're gonna pry the motor back a little bit. All right, that side is lined up. Hopefully the driver's side is as well. It is not. I'm gonna get this 18 millimeter started on the passenger side here so that it doesn't get misaligned. I'm just gonna barely get it started. Don't need to tighten it down all the way. Just want to keep things lined up. I'm gonna jack this back up a little bit. Take some tension off the left-hand side mount. And it looks like it's almost lined up. This would be easier if you had assistance, somebody to lower the engine while you guide it into place, but we'll have that, so just gonna work it a little bit at a time. And these mounts, they have a lot of movement in them. I think that's gonna line up if I lower it down now, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And it's in. I'm gonna tighten up that 18 millimeter on this side. We're gonna pull the jack out from under the oil pan now, and we're gonna jack this cradle up here and support the engine this way, because you can't tighten those bolts down to spec with the weight of the engine fighting against you. So there we go. Just need to, like that, get it sitting flat against the frame, this cradle here. Then we can get those back bolts in and tighten those all up. Get that 18 millimeter started. Got our hearing protection back on. I know I'm a sissy. Hearing protection, gloves, safety glasses, all that stuff. Get it started by hand so it's not getting cross-threaded. Tighten it down to the vehicle manufacturer's torque specs. Now we're going to put these wheel well bits back in there, line them up with the bracket. May have to maneuver the bracket around a little. Come in and do it from under here while you reach in the wheel well. See if we can get up there. Oh, there it is. This front one's in right there. Can't see the back one from here, but it should be pretty lined up since that one's in, and it feels like it is. So we're gonna go under the wheel well now and tighten them up. And then we'll tighten the 10 millimeters down here. Ta-da. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. There we go, that one's in. And the other one's lining up. Tighten those up. And then we can do the same thing. Come down under here and tighten up those 10 millimeters. Tighten up the inside 10 millimeters. Get the one up toward the front of the vehicle. All right, now that we've got all the 10 millimeters and the two 13 millimeters on this bracket and the two 13 millimeters holding the cradle tight, we're gonna come up here and tighten up the 18 millimeter stud coming out of that motor mount to the vehicle manufacturer's torque specs. All right, now we're gonna put our ductwork back. You don't have to remove the ductwork, but it made filming much better. And you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And then hopefully when you start it up, that vibration that you felt in gear while sitting there is gone. All right, we're gonna start it up and put it in gear and see how it feels. That feels way, way better. And I hope yours feels better too. That's it, high five, you did it.